Welcome to Cosmic Enigma. Today we're going to talk about an event that has pushed the boundaries of what we believe is possible in our solar system. Stay with us until the end of this video to discover how this situation is evolving, because what we're witnessing may change the way humanity understands the universe. This video explores the emergence of a mysterious interstellar object, the unprecedented behavior it displayed, and why the global scientific community is treating this moment with extreme seriousness. What follows is not speculation. It is a factual reconstruction of events, based on confirmed observations, coordinated detections, and real scientific analysis.
The event.
Earlier today, instruments positioned across multiple continents detected something extraordinary. Independent observatories, separated by thousands of kilometers, recorded the same sudden anomaly at the same moment. Data streams surged simultaneously. Automated systems escalated the alert level without waiting for human verification. Control rooms that had never experienced a full system trigger fell silent. For the first time, a phenomenon previously confined to theoretical discussion crossed into observable reality. An interstellar object already considered anomalous did something no natural body has ever been documented doing before.
It didn't break apart. It didn't evaporate. It didn't collide. It opened.
Why this matters? Preliminary analysis suggests that what was revealed inside this object is not random material.
Not ice. Not rock.
Not debris shaped by chaotic forces. Instead, the internal structure appears ordered.
Defined. Deliberate.
That single observation forces a re-evaluation of everything we assume about objects entering our solar system from interstellar space. Before we go any further, it's important to be clear. This was not the result of a single telescope, a lone researcher, or an isolated interpretation of noisy data. Global confirmation. The detection was confirmed independently by multiple scientific institutions operating under different agencies, methodologies, and observational technologies. Ground-based observatories, deep space tracking stations, and space-based infrared instruments all reported consistent results within minutes of one another. Archival comparisons were pulled almost immediately.
Cross-checks followed.
Secure communication channels were established before daylight reached much of the planet. This was not fringe research. This was the global astronomical community reacting in real time to something none of its models had prepared it for. The object before the event. Long before today, this object had already raised questions. It entered the solar system on a trajectory that did not originate here, moving at a velocity incompatible with bound solar orbits. It was only the third confirmed interstellar visitor ever observed. But unlike previous cases, it behaved differently. There was no visible coma. No predictable outgassing. No rotational signature consistent with tumbling rock or ice. Its surface reflectivity didn't match known materials. Its spectral profile was incomplete. Even then, scientists urged restraint. Nature has a long history of appearing strange before revealing a natural explanation. But today changed the tone of that caution.
The warning signs.
In the days leading up to the opening event, tracking data began to show subtle irregularities. The object's trajectory shifted, not dramatically, but persistently. Gravitational models ruled out planetary influence. There were no visible propulsion effects. Yet the motion could not be dismissed as noise. Then came thermal fluctuations.
Regular. Rhythmic.
Too precise to be explained by known processes in deep space. Spectral readings soon followed, revealing reflections in wavelengths not typically associated with common interstellar materials. Shortly after, radio observatories detected faint electromagnetic pulses.
Weak but structured. Repeating. Consistent. Not random. The moment it began.
Earlier today, a network of scientific instruments spread across multiple continents registered an anomaly almost simultaneously. Data streams that normally fluctuate within predictable ranges suddenly spiked. Automated alert systems escalated without waiting for manual confirmation. Protocols designed for rare scenarios activated for the first time since their creation. Control rooms across the globe were illuminated by alerts no one had ever seen triggered before.
There was no panic. There was silence.
Because those watching understood immediately that this was not a routine detection. Something fundamentally unexpected had occurred. The object at the center. The focus of this global reaction was an interstellar object already known for defying easy classification. It was not newly discovered. It had been tracked for weeks as it passed through our solar system on a trajectory that clearly did not originate here. Its motion alone placed it outside the category of ordinary asteroids or comets. But its physical behavior made it even more difficult to explain. And then, without warning, It did something no natural celestial body has ever been observed to do.
It opened. Not shattered. Not eroded.
Not vaporized by solar radiation.
It opened. Why this is unprecedented.
Preliminary scans revealed that the interior of the object was not chaotic. There was no indication of random fragmentation. No evidence of loosely bound debris. No signs of natural layering consistent with ice or rock. Instead, scientists observed internal features that appeared structured, geometrically defined, deliberate. That single observation changed the context entirely. Because in astrophysics, order at that scale does not arise casually. Establishing credibility. Before speculation can begin, credibility must be established. This event was not identified by a single telescope. It was not interpreted by one analyst reviewing ambiguous data. Multiple observatories operating independently detected the same phenomenon. Different instruments, different methodologies, same result. Infrared sensors confirmed the transformation moments after it occurred. Archival data was retrieved and compared within hours. Research institutions, computational modeling teams, and planetary science divisions across the world were connected into secure channels before sunrise reached most regions. This was not fringe science. This was the global scientific community witnessing something that did not fit existing models. An object that never fit. Even before today, this object was considered unusual. It entered the solar system on a path that indicated an origin beyond it, traveling at a speed inconsistent with bodies gravitationally bound to the Sun. It was only the third confirmed interstellar visitor ever observed. But unlike previous cases, it displayed none of the expected characteristics. There was no visible coma. No predictable outgassing. No rotational light pattern typical of tumbling rock or ice. Its surface reflectivity was inconsistent with known materials. Its spectral absorption data showed gaps that should not exist. At the time, scientists urged restraint. Nature has a long history of surprising us. The first, irregularities. Then came the subtle changes. Tracking data began to reveal a small but persistent deviation in the object's trajectory. The shift was minor, almost negligible at first glance, but it did not disappear. Gravitational modeling ruled out planetary influence. No visible propulsion effects were detected. There were no plumes, no jets, no thermal signatures indicating mass ejection. Yet the acceleration remained.
It was real.
Thermal and spectral anomalies. Hours later, thermal readings began to fluctuate. Not randomly.
Not chaotically.
They oscillated with a regular rhythm. In deep space, such consistency has no known natural explanation. Soon after, spectroscopic analysis detected a subtle color shift across the object's surface. Reflections appeared in narrow wavelength bands that did not correspond to common ices, silicates, or metals. At nearly the same time, radio observatories detected a faint electromagnetic emission.
Weak but repeating. Structured. Consistent. It was not noise. A change in perspective. At that point, the conversation shifted. Scientists were no longer asking whether the object was unusual. They were asking how much of its behavior could still be attributed to natural processes. Caution remained.
Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. But the data continued to accumulate. And then, at a precise moment, the object crossed a threshold that no model had predicted. Because what followed was not a gradual escalation. It was a clear, observable transformation. One that would force a new question to the forefront. Not what is this object made of, but what is it doing?
And more importantly, why now?
Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next updates. This story is still unfolding, and what comes next may be even more important than what we have already seen. The moment of transformation. When the critical moment arrived, there was no warning. At a precise instant, the object's silhouette changed in a way that immediately drew attention across every active monitoring system. There was no explosive force. No cloud of debris. No thermal spike indicating fragmentation. Instead, the outer structure separated along a perfectly straight plane. What followed was not destruction, it was reconfiguration. Segments of the outer shell moved apart with controlled precision, unfolding smoothly and symmetrically, revealing an internal structure with sharply defined boundaries. This was not the behavior of stressed material failing under pressure. It was the behavior of something executing a process. Wise scientists fell silent. The symmetry alone was enough to raise alarms. At that scale, in that environment, such geometric precision does not arise from chaos. Natural systems fracture irregularly. They erode unevenly. They do not open cleanly, predictably, and evenly. And yet, that is exactly what was observed. Within seconds, secondary anomalies began to cascade across the data streams. Energy without explosion. Sensors detected a brief emission of high-energy radiation originating from the exposed internal structure.
It appeared suddenly. It peaked quickly. And then it stopped.
There was no residual heat buildup.
No expanding shockwave.
No loss of mass detectable by gravitational measurements. Instead, sensors registered a redistribution of mass within the object itself, as if internal components had shifted position without being expelled into space. This violated expectations based on every known material behavior at that scale.
A change in behavior.
Almost simultaneously, the object's electromagnetic emissions changed. The repeating pattern that had been detected earlier collapsed into a new sequence. It was no longer static.
It adapted.
Intervals shifted. Patterns reorganized. Structure replaced repetition.